A young boy by the name of Timmy lived in a quiet town that was tucked away in the depths of the surrounding forest. Timmy was a regular kid, but he had a special ability that set him apart from other kids his age. He was able to understand the winds rustling and the trees whispering in a way that other kids couldn't. However, there was one thing that distinguished him from the other people in the community. He was the only one who could hear the eerie song that reverberated throughout the night. Timmy would sit on his front porch each night as the sun descended below the horizon and listen to the otherworldly music that appeared to come from the depths of the night. A chill ran down his back as he listened to the melancholy tune, but he couldn't quite put his finger on what it was about the tune that drew him in. Timmy was aware that this eerie tune concealed a deeper meaning, despite the fact that the other residents of the town wrote it off as the product of a child's overactive imagination. Timmy went deep into the woods one fateful night in an attempt to discover the source of the haunting music that had been calling to him for so long that he could no longer ignore its allure. He pursued the sound till he came across an abandoned cabin tucked away in the crooked limbs of some very old oak trees. He felt as though he was being led by some unseen power. The tune, which was getting louder as he got closer, was inviting him to come inside. Timmy entered the cabin with some apprehension, and as soon as he did, the door slammed shut behind him with a creaking sound. The room was completely dark, with the exception of a single candle that was lit and set on top of an ancient and dusty piano. The peak of the music was reached, and an overwhelming feeling of fear spread throughout the cabin as a result. Suddenly the air began to smell musty, and shadowy forms began to materialize from the darkness. Their empty eyes fastened upon Timmy, and all of them murmured in unison, "We have waited for you." Timmy's heart was racing with fear, but he held firm because he was more interested in what was going on than he was afraid of it. As they were confined behind the walls of the cabin, the fragments of spirits started to tell a story about a terrible accident and a loss. They told of a powerful curse that chained their spirits, dooming them to spend eternity being miserable just as they were at the end of their lives. Timmy finally grasped the meaning of the eerie tune as the final remnants of their story faded away. It was a scream for assistance, a pleading for the curse to be broken so that their spirits may be released. Timmy, who was brimming with resolve, made a solemn commitment to put an end to the vicious circle of hopelessness. Timmy devoted himself to discovering the secrets of the cabin over the course of several days, which extended into weeks. Concern for the boy's well-being grew among the citizens of the village, as they dreaded the possibility that the uneasy atmosphere that pervaded the cabin would swallow him. Timmy, however, was not deterred, and instead was propelled by a newly discovered purpose. Timmy was led to the location of an old notebook that was concealed behind the deteriorating walls of the cottage by the counsel of the wind and the murmurs of the surrounding trees. The entries in it included specifics on a long-lost ritual that had been handed down from generation to generation and was said to be able to lift the curse and free the souls that had been trapped. Timmy assembled the people in the community to inform them of his discoveries once he had acquired the necessary information. They worked together to get ready for the ritual, in which they hoped to bring comfort to the troubled spirits. As soon as the ceremony started, a heavenly brightness filled the cottage. This removed the shroud of darkness that had been hanging over it for decades or even centuries. The eerie tune developed into a stunning symphony, which infused the atmosphere with a feeling of optimism and fresh beginnings. As soon as they were able to find some peace, the agonized cries of the spirits were replaced by melodies of thankfulness and relief. However, even after the ceremony had come to a close, the eerie tune continued to play on. Instead, it changed into a quieter hum that uttered a reassuring promise of a fresh start. Timmy was aware that even though the curse had been lifted, the story was not yet finished. Timmy made a solemn oath that he would defend the cabin and remain constantly vigilant against anyone who would wish to disrupt the tranquility that had recently been restored. And as he was leaving the cabin and said his goodbyes to the ghosts, he couldn't help but wonder what other mysteries lay in wait for him in the deep, eerie woods with all of its echoing sounds. The eerie tune had only been the beginning of a much longer story, hinted at the unknown horrors that were still to come, as well as the unyielding determination of a small kid to confront them head-on.